Today's video was brought to you by the Abbey Community School Society. Hello everyone, and welcome back to your virtual art class. My name is Sarah, and I'm your instructor for this video series. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys some really fun ways that you can doodle in your sketchbook using just a pen and paper. So without further ado, let's get started. Whether you're a professional artist or a total beginner, one of the most scary things to tackle is the blank page. When you start a new sketchbook, it can be very daunting to stare at all of these white pages that you haven't filled yet and come up with creative ideas. Lucky for you, I have a couple of easy exercises that will fill up your sketchbook and get your creative juices flowing. The supplies for all three projects include a sketchbook or some sort of paper, your favorite black pen, some colorful markers, and a pencil, eraser, and sharpener. I'll give you a second to pause this video and come back when you're ready to get started. Okay, my first project that I'm going to show you is something that I like to call my day in doodles. This is just a little exercise that I do pretty often, and it's a cute way that you can recap the events of your day. During the evening or afternoon, I'll reflect back on what happened during the day and then choose a symbol or doodle to represent it. It doesn't have to be anything particularly interesting, and sometimes the only things to recap are just things that I ate or what I wore that day, but in the end, you can usually think of enough things to fill up your page, which creates this cute little collage of doodles. Now, some of you may be thinking, I'm a terrible artist, I just can't draw this stuff, how am I going to do this project? But that's the beauty of this. It's just for you to see. The point of this is not to perfectly draw a bowl of spaghetti from memory, it's to quickly scribble something that loosely resembles spaghetti. Plus, if you do this activity often enough, you'll end up improving your drawing skills a lot, and maybe one day your spaghetti will be lifelike. If you're stuck when thinking of what to draw, here's a list of questions you can ask to get some more ideas. What did you eat or drink today? Maybe you had more than one cup of coffee, so draw 2 mugs. What did you wear? You can be as specific or general as you want. Where did you go? And what did it look like when you were there? How did you feel? Just a simple smiley or frowny face can communicate a lot. What did you do? Maybe you just laid in bed all day and watched Netflix. That's okay, draw a bed and a TV. Also, here's a freebie. No matter what you did that day, right now, you're drawing. So you can draw a sketchbook, pens, and you can even draw a little version of the drawing you're doing right now. Trippy! Lastly, if you can't think of anything else at all, fill in the extra spaces with stars or hearts or whatever little doodles you want. This is really just supposed to be low pressure and fun, so don't worry about making it look perfect because it's really just about getting your pen on the paper. If you can't draw something, change the way that it looks. Do I have a mug with a smiley face on it? No, I do not. Did I draw one because I felt like it? Yes I did. In other words, just have fun with it. Alright, moving on to project number 2. This is a drawing technique called Zentangle. This method is most known for being a relaxing form of art therapy, and it's created by drawing small tiles of repeating patterns that come together in a mosaic called a Zentangle. I'm no Zentangle expert, and there are hundreds of patterns and techniques to learn, but today I'll show you some of the basics, and if it's something you enjoy, you can totally keep going with it. To begin, you'll need to divide your page into small sections. To do this, I like to draw long squiggly lines across the page, creating these warped sort of squares. You can do this however you'd like, but I'd recommend keeping your sections relatively small because, as you might discover, filling in a super large section with a pattern can be very tiring. These sections can really be filled with any pattern you want, so if you have one in mind that you really like, feel free to use it, but here are some of the ones that I like to use. This first one involves drawing a square grid with donut shapes inside each square. Then, each square alternates between a black background with a white donut and a black donut with a white background, repeating until the space is filled. This next one also starts with a square grid and then continues by adding a quarter circle in the top right-hand corner of each square. To create this sort of sunbeam effect, I just add some lines and fill in the little sunshine, and the pattern continues. I won't go into too much detail about the rest of these patterns because they're all relatively simple and you sort of get the idea. Just continue to pick new patterns and fill each of the sections until your page is full. If you need some help thinking of patterns to use, a quick Google search for Zentangle patterns will give you literally hundreds of options to discover and learn. And when you finish drawing your patterns, usually the next step is to shade the patterns in with a pencil. But this step is totally optional, and you can do whatever works best for you. You can shade specifically for the pattern you chose, or just darken the edges around each section, and this will just add some extra dimension. And that's it! That's how you create a Zentangle. I will note that there are a lot of Zentangle experts on the internet who've created lots of rules and regulations when it comes to creating, but I would encourage you to stray away from some of those rules and make whatever feels good for you to make. I think that having a very uniform Zentangle can look really nice, but also sometimes it lacks creativity. So once again, I just urge you to have fun and see where this project takes you. The final project is pretty simple and can be done a number of different ways. This is something that I like to do when I just can't think of what to draw, but I do want to draw in my sketchbook. Just take whatever markers you have, even highlighters will work for this, and start to fill in the page with blobs and random shapes, or you can even use the same shape like over and over again. Then just take your pen and draw some doodles over top, letting the shape of the marker blob guide your drawings. Maybe that blob looks like a bird, or maybe it just looks like a blob. Either way, it does not have to look perfect. Sometimes I just like to do the same thing over and over. Here, I did a bunch of different faces, and then a bunch of different cats and dogs. This isn't really a project per se, but rather is like a jumping point for you to get started on your own project. Something like this only takes a few minutes, and sometimes it will inspire you to create something super awesome in the process. So it's a really great way to get inspired and fill up your sketchbook at the same time. So that's all the ideas I have for you today. Here's one more look at how mine turned out. Thank you so much to everyone for tuning into today's video. I can't wait to see everything that you guys are going to create. And as always, please make sure to reach out to me if you have any questions at all about this project. See you guys in the next video. Bye!